every Hindu and Buddhist in the world. Hundreds of millions of people has heard of the ancient flying machines referred to in the Ramayana and other texts as Vimanas. Vimanas are mentioned even today in standard Indian literature and media reports. An article called Flight Path by the Indian journalist Vaimānika Śāstra appeared in the major newspaper The Times of India on April 8, 1999, which talked about Vimanas and ancient warfare. According to some interpretations of surviving texts, India's future, it seems, happened way back in the past. Take the case of the Yantra Savasva, said to have been written by the sage Maharishi Bhardwaj. This consists of as many as 40 sections, of which one, the Vimanika Prakarana dealing with aeronautics, has 8 chapters, 100 topics and 500 sutras. In it, Bhardwaj describes Vimana, or aerial aircrafts, as being of 3 classes. 1. Those that travel from place to place. 2. Those that travel from one country to another. 3. Those that travel between planets. Of special concern among these were the military planes, whose functions were delineated in some very considerable detail and which read today like something clean out of science fiction. For instance, they had to be impregnable, unbreakable, non-combustible, and indestructible, capable of coming to a dead stop in the twinkling of an eye, invisible to enemies, capable of listening to the conversations and sounds in hostile planes, technically proficient to see and record things, persons, incidents, and situations going on inside enemy planes, know at every stage the direction of the movement of other aircraft in the vicinity, capable of rendering the enemy crew into a state of suspended animation, intellectual torpor or complete loss of consciousness, capable of destruction, manned by pilots and co-travelers who could adapt in accordance with the climate in which they moved, temperature regulated inside, constructed of very light and heat-absorbing metals, provided with mechanisms that could enlarge or reduce images and enhance or diminish sounds. Notwithstanding the fact that such contraption would resemble a cross between an American state-of-the-art stealth fighter and a flying saucer, does it mean that air and space travel was well known to ancient Indians and airplanes flourished in India when the rest of the world was just learning the rudiments of agriculture? Aerial battles and chases are common in ancient Hindu literature. What did these airships look like? The ancient Mahabharata speaks of a Vimana as an aerial chariot with the sides of iron and clad with wings. The Ramayana describes a Vimana as a double-deck, circular cylindrical aircraft with portholes and a dome. It flew with the speed of the wind, and gave forth a melodious sound. The ancient Indians themselves wrote entire flight manuals on the care and control of various types of Vimanas. The Sutradhara is a scientific treatise dealing with every possible facet of air travel in a Vimana. There are 230 stanzas dealing with construction, takeoff, cruising for thousands of miles, normal and forced landings, and even possible collisions with birds. Would these texts exist? They do, without there being something to actually write about? Traditional historians and archaeologists simply ignore such writings as the imaginative ramblings of a bunch of stoned, ancient writers. Says Andrew Thomas, the Sutradhara, which is a factual type of record, treats air travel from every angle. If this is the science fiction of antiquity, then it is the best that has ever been written. In 1875, the Vaimānika Śāstra, a 4th century BC text written by Maharishi Bhardwaj, was discovered in a temple in India. The book dealt with the operation of ancient Vimanas and included information on steering, precautions for long flights, protection of the airships from storms and lightning, and how to switch the drive to solar energy or some other free energy source, possibly some sort of gravity drive. Vimanas were said to take off vertically or dirigible. Bharadwaj the Wise refers to no less than 70 authorities and 10 experts of air travel in antiquity. These sources are now lost. Vimanas were kept in Vaimānika, or hangar, was said to be propelled by a yellowish-white liquid, and were used for various purposes. Airships were present all over the world. The plain of Nazca in Peru is very famous for appearing from the high altitude to be a rather elaborate, if confusing, airfield. Some researchers have theorized that this was some sort of Atlantean outpost. It is worth noting that Rama Empire had its outpost Caesar Island, almost diametrically opposite to Mohenjo-daro on the globe, astonishingly developed its own written language, an obscure script lost to the present inhabitants, but found on tablets and other carvings. This odd script is found in only one other place in the world, Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. For more information about the Vimana, please stay connected with our channel by subscribing it.